Hey Lyon County, it's Cassandra, and I'm here with my 1080s, Selena and Brittany, and today we're going to be talking about some strange phone calls.
So this is not going to be 911 education today.
No. And since it's the holidays, how about we start off with a strange call during the holiday season?
Sounds good.
I remember when the Emporia Police Department hosted their first zombie run, 5K run for the community, and they didn't promote it as well as they should have. I mean, it was the first year. We didn't know. We just was like, hey, let's go do it. So the community, they volunteered to dress up like zombies to help scare the runners as they're running down the street. And I was in dispatch that day.
I can already see where this is going.
We started getting phone calls about these strange zombie-looking people chasing random people down the street. But it was actually the zombie people dressed up as zombies.
That's great. That's
chasing
great.
after the runners because of the 5K. Didn't you have a turkey call?
An aggressive turkey.
You just yours was recent.
Yeah, just the day before Thanksgiving, we have a call for an aggressive turkey chasing people down the road.
He didn't want to be Thanksgiving
He did not want to be caught.
Right.
The officers were like, he's headed towards the tree line. Never caught him.
Pretty sure he was pardoned then. No, I have a turkey one too. I think it was you and I who were actually working in dispatch together that night. And we got a phone call from this elderly couple who had said they thought somebody broke into their basement, but they were afraid to go down there. And they kept calling back, and we said, no, stay on the line with you. We'll get you somebody there as soon as possible. Can you lock your basement door? We went through all the things, and come to find out, one of our little city slicker officers went down there, and it was a turkey that flew in through the basement window, broke the window. Our poor officer was like, what do we do? What do we do? And one of our older sergeants I shouldn't say older, he's more experienced. He's a good old country boy.
He was a country boy, yeah.
Went in there with his flashlight and did his little strobe trick on it. Like put that thing in the daze and he quick grabbed it by his feet. Should have disclaimer. No turkeys or animals were harmed in the filming of the show or in real life. But when you said that turkey was aggressive, I also have another one that made me think of. This lady called 911 and she was like, listen, you're going to think I'm crazy. And I'm like, trust me, I'm not going to think you're crazy. We hear that all the time. And she goes, well, there's this chicken. It's a rooster. It's like a mutant rooster chicken that attacks us every time we come outside.
It was on her porch.
Yes.
Yeah,
and she was, and so all my partners in the room were laughing, Selena, and she could hear everybody. She's like, I know, I sound so crazy. I'm like, no, I promise. We just weren't quite expecting that. But it took some time. Two officers.
It chased the officers.
Can you
imagine a chicken chasing two officers down the road?
Yeah, they had to go find,
It can seem pretty intimidating.
Oh, I wouldn't mess with a rooster. No way. You can't pay me enough.
Christmas is coming up, and we all know the Christmas Story, right? Love that movie. My favorite Christmas movie is The Christmas Story, where with Ralphie and everything. Do you remember that part where they triple dog dared that kid to stick their tongue on the pole to see if it would stick? Yeah. Well, apparently some little kids here in the community thought, oh, hey, let's go try that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we got a phone call of this little kid with his tongue stuck to the pole.
Aww.
It felt so bad.
It'd be really hard to laugh when you roll up on that. You're like, what are you doing?
Well, the officer went up there and she's like, oh, get me the fire department for little Ralphie here.
That's funny, get it?
Ralphie Jr. right there.
The fire department did respond. We got the child off of the pole. It was fine. The kid was fine. Everything was good. I remember one time where a horse got loose from the sale barn here in Emporia, and we sent officers because it was running down like a major highway in Emporia, causing traffic issues. And we sent our officers out there, and they really didn't know how to catch a horse, except for this one who got a bucket and put something in the bucket and started shaking it.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah, pretty clever,
It's
right?
like rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the horse started coming over there, and they lassoed it. But the funniest part about this was somebody put "A horse is a horse, of course, over the radio. Oh, that reminds me of the time early in the morning. I just got on shift. I got a call, and somebody called and said, "You need to send somebody over here. There's an alligator on the sidewalk." And I'm like,
an alligator?
In Emporia.
Right.
okay. I'm like, you mean
Kansas?
a lizard? Maybe a really big, lizard? And he's like,
Like a huge iguana or something.
no, this is an alligator. I'm like, okay, sure. We'll send somebody over to check on it. Lizard. But
lizard.
sent the bike officers over there. And I'm not kidding you. He's like, yeah, so this is an alligator. You might want to call the zoo, see if they're missing any. I don't think we have alligators.
Yeah, I
at the
don't
zoo.
No.
think so.
Really? I'm like, okay.
Somebody's strange exotic pet.
It was somebody's pet. They found the owner. The story is it was hot that night, and the guy says, I sleep with my alligator. He's my pet. He sleeps in
that's
bed
great.
with me.
That
And
is
it had
great.
gotten hot during the night, so I opened the window, and the alligator climbed out the window during the night.
Oh, wow.
He came and got his pet alligator. That reminds me, backtrack to another animal call. Why are all my strange calls animal calls?
I say
Well, this
a lot of
one
them
happened on Commercial Street, and the jewelry store that was there
I was
Oh,
working
wow.
with you.
had an automatic door opener, so you'd step on the mat and the doors would open. Well, along comes this deer.
Like a herd of deer. Remember, we were sitting
Yeah.
in dispatch and we were watching on the camera, and all of a sudden we saw them jumping down the east side of the building, down the stairwell, and we were like, what is going
But
on?
one of those deers walked on the door opener, and the door opened to this jewelry store, and it proceeded to go
man.
inside.
Oh
And
my gosh.
the door shut. It freaked out and started jumping all over the jewelry store, breaking the
Every
cases.
transmission those officers had, you could hear
Oh,
glass
sad
breaking
day.
everywhere.
Speaking of UFO, that kind of remind me of, like, you know, around harvesting time where all the low-flying planes,
Oh.
how we get so many calls
Yeah.
about
Oh my
low-flying
gosh.
planes.
That
People
crop
thinking
duster
that-
south
I
of
know.
town,
Yes.
that sucker gets us every year.
People freak out when they see, like, a low-flying plane, or if they're not from here, like, people traveling from, like,
Oh
New York.
my gosh.
I think it's the craziest thing.
Speaking of that, Kansas, we burn. We have burn season.
Oh, yeah.
We burn our crops.
yeah.
We burn our fields for new growth. People from out of state don't understand this. And we have a pretty major highway, the Kansas Turnpike.
Fire!
The Kansas
There's fire
Turnpike runs
everywhere.
right through Lyon County. And so we would get multiple 911
Yeah.
calls about, oh my gosh, there's a fire. Okay, well,
Mhm.
how big is it? The whole place is burning.
Right,
And they're
there's
so
somebody
freaking out.
in
And
the
they're
background.
honestly,
There's another one!
and we have to
What is happening?
oh my god, we have to explain, like, okay, where are you from? I'm from New York. Okay,
Right.
let me tell you what happens in Kansas during the
Welcome to
springtime.
Kansas.
This is normal and it's okay. But thank you for calling in. We
Yeah.
appreciate your phone call. We take every call seriously. Every single call that we take seriously until we know it's okay. And some of these phone calls that we're talking about, the end result, everybody was fine.
It's a good
And I mean,
resource.
even the first, you know, like, few seconds of the open lines is
You're
pretty,
listening.
Yeah,
Yep.
like, you can
Our
hear
ear is trained to, like, listen for every little background detail
yep,
of that call.
any arguments that may be happening, or
Even if
sounds.
I've sent police to 911 open lines of kids fighting with each other. They're just kids. They're fighting siblings.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking that it's an actual altercation happening, and I would send officers just to make sure everything was fine. And it ends up like brother and sister were just having an argument.
And that's why I always think it's good too, like, even if it's a 911 call, like, until Selena starts screaming, 911, hello! And then you're like, okay, maybe I'm gonna get off now because she said it 3 times.
Mhm.
But it's also good for, I feel like, good practice for your partner to hop on too, because sometimes you
Might catch something.
might catch something that the actual call
Mhm.
taker missed because they're so focused on what their caller's saying, they may not be hearing what's happening in the background.
Mhm.
And
So
kids.
it does help.
Speaking of kids, don't prank phone call 911.
Mhm.
Don't do it. Don't play. We have found you so
Oh my
many times.
gosh.
We don't want to send officers, but every time you call 911, playing or pranking us, that takes up a phone line that's in case somebody else who really needs help, you're taking up that phone line.
Okay, Lyon County, I think that wraps it up for our strange phone calls.
Thanks for listening to us, and have a happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
And just remember,
Bye.
Lyon County dispatchers are always here to take your call and text Lyon County.